Hi guys, welcome to SavvyMoneyShow with me, your host Sean. Well, I'm going to do a piece on FANG stocks, and I'm going to start with Google because it has its split now, so it's a bit time sensitive. Now, of course, we have GOOG and GOOGL. I've gone for a few metrics for GOOGL, but it's closest. It's the same premise for GOOG. Personally, I prefer GOOG because some people prefer the L because it has votes, but to tell the truth, for every one vote in GOOG, you've got each B share has 10 votes. So, and they can be converted in A shares. So, to tell the truth, it can be diluted, and buying it because of the votes, your votes are inconsequential anyway. So you're better off saving yourself. I know it's not a lot of money, but a little bit of money. Now, and when it splits, the votes are going to be diluted again. Now, when it splits on a 20-for-1 basis, it will be equivalent of $135 a share, roughly. A split doesn't add anything to the company. The only thing is, you usually get some hype around the split, and as I'm sure you're aware, we've seen it with Tesla and Apple. People think it's going to be cheaper, more people will get in, and there is that to it. As well as that, there's a good chance it will be added to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Why? Because the S&P is on a market cap basis, but the Dow Jones is on a price cap weighted basis. Now, if it is, then there's plenty of ETFs that pick up on an index basis. So if it is, then you will get likes of Vanguard and lots of funds buying up lots of shares purely because it gets added to another index, because they have to pick up shares, and of course Google is considered a safe share. So anyway, let's get into it. Don't forget to hit that lovely like button, and don't forget the sexy subscribe button. A lot sexier than me, just ask the wife. And if you want to be a hero, hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when a new video gets uploaded. And why not check out the links in the description below. If you're looking for a free trading platform, you get a free share worth up to $200, depending on the platform you use if you deposit a small amount. In my opinion, and it is just my opinion, I'm just an idiot on the internet, this isn't financial advice, Google is the safest and one of the best of the FANG stocks, and we'll go through the metrics. It has had 40% revenue growth. So when people are looking at non-profitable stocks such as Tattoo Chef, and I am a holder in Tattoo Chef, I think it has amazing growth prospects. That has had 40% revenue growth. Google, with all its cash on hand, over $100 billion, is still having 40% revenue growth. Now there was a thing going around yesterday how Google was getting into the blockchain and Bitcoin mining, but it's been taken down today. So I don't know if it was just a rumor or if they're not ready to announce yet. I believe Google, as I'm sure you're aware, its ad revenue went up while Facebook's went down. This is due to the Apple privacy regulations. Apple changed its privacy rules, which meant that Facebook could no longer automatically take people's data. People had to authorize whether or not Facebook could, and as a result Shopify went down because Shopify uses Facebook's data to create their analytics for their new shops, and they believe they will not have people creating new shops because they're not providing the analytics. As a result of that, a lot of the advertisers who use these type of data analytics, we believe, will be going to Google because they do not have these restrictions, and it's easier to get the analytics, and it will also mean they will increase their ad revenue. Now, for a company with a market cap of $1.78 trillion to have 40% revenue growth is amazing. It has a PE of 24, and that is amazing as well, in my opinion. Price to sales of 7. Now, this is the second best price to sales in the FANG. The only one that beats this is Facebook, and in my opinion Facebook is a lot riskier. Firstly, as I said, is for the last year, not just because of Apple, but for the last year its ad revenue has been declining. It's investing heavily in the metaverse, but it has bigger companies taking it on, and Facebook is going to take 10 years to realise its investment on that. So yes, Facebook could come out of it bigger and better, but it's a long-term investment in my opinion. Google is an investment that's paying off now. It doesn't pay a dividend, it reinvests it, so there's no tax on a dividend. You of course have the search engine, or people go on about Airbnb being a recovery play for the travel industry, but people don't talk about Google being a recovery play for the travel industry. When you were going to search Airbnb, where do you search it? You search it on Google. When you are going to look for places to eat when you're going to travel, you search it on Google. You search everything on Google. You have Google Maps. You know, even though Google Maps uses Planet Labs, you're still going to search Google Maps. So it's that's its main business. You then have YouTube, and in my opinion, if Google gets told they've grown too big and they have to split up the business, it makes sense to split up YouTube and Google rather than the other parts, because YouTube would make such a great standalone business, and I think the future of TV will be YouTube. It used to be a case of if we wanted to search how to do something, we'd search online on Google how to do it. Now we just go straight to YouTube for someone to show us how to do something, and I've fixed so many things from looking at YouTube. They're talking about putting videos, creators like myself who don't get paid by YouTube until they reach a certain level. They're talking about putting ad videos on our content. Now if they do that, they would get 100% of the revenue, whereas at the moment they're only getting around 50%. Think how much that's going to generate for them. You can see there the gross profit is 146.7 billion from last 12 months. Their balance sheet is growing, and it's just amazing, really. And quarter over quarter, their assets are going up faster than their liabilities, and their cash, 139.5 billion, is more than their total liabilities, and it is an amazing company to be in. Now, with discounted cash flow, I did work out that it should be a valuation, GOOGL should be a valuation of 3,300, and that was using conservative numbers, so it is 27% undervalued. So one thing I didn't speak about was something I spoke about in the previous video: Waymo. Now, you have Waymo and Cruise have received a pilot license for full self-driving. What that means is, pilot license means they can test full self-driving as long as someone's in the car. Now, this is the first step to full self-driving, and they can, in certain areas where there's no one around, nothing around, the pilot can be out of the car and monitoring the car as long as he can get to it before. Now, this is huge, and no one talks about Waymo, and it's it will be huge for the company. And don't forget that Polestar uses Google system, so they already have clients lined up for it. The other thing is, what no one has been speaking about was how 2 years ago a court ruled against Uber, an Uber director who had worked at Waymo and Google, for stealing the IP. So Google also has millions of dollars worth of shares in Uber's self-driving platform. So I think going forward, future looks bright. I think there is also I think likes of Google, Amazon and Apple are working on the metaverse without announcing it, purely because they don't need to. And I think stocks like Google, Facebook, Apple and Amazon have they're at a turning point, and they've kind of come to a stop this year and last year, and it's like an accumulation phase where you either pick up now before they go supernova, or you'll miss out. As you can see here, Google Labs Group is working on a company's augmented reality work, and that's what Sundar has classed the metaverse as. So I'm very excited about the future with Google. They were the first to give a free search engine. Before then, if you're old enough to remember, like me, you had to pay for one. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. If you found any of my videos helpful and you want to help me make more, you can support me by buying me a coffee. The link is in the description below.